On our way, I pointed out the next destination north, the end of Ihakara Street and the Wharemauku stream walk and cycleway area. Going up there.
If we'd have got the Western Link Road, that, because it had been a community consultation exercise, then we were virtually almost going to get a dream road as for in terms of a sustainable future. We were going to get a local road with a slower speed. We were going to have bridleways so people, even if they could use horses if they wanted to, but also we would encourage cycling. And it's just getting people out with that perception that it's safer and actually designed for cyclists, pedestrians and people who use horses is not such a crazy idea.
Well, when I lived down here, I was on the Walkways, Cycleways and Bridleways Committee, and we were involved with the Kapiti Coast District Council looking at ways to use the verge of the Western Link Road as a recreational area. And because it was only a two-lane road, the original designation that came from the Sandhills Expressway years ago was a very wide designation. So we knew we had lots of room along the edges, mainly probably along one edge, to put in walkways, bridleways and cycleways. And that was really exciting because it gave us then a good north-south route through the Kapiti Coast to use recreationally. So I'm concerned the Expressway will not have that option because of the added width of the vehicle traffic and also the speed of vehicles. So I was an employee, and I was involved in the consultation, general consultation with the community, and that was a big process back about 10 years ago, maybe at most. And one of the things that people in the community said is we don't want an expressway to go through here. Two-lane road, we can live with that because it will be useful, but don't put 4 lanes and that kind of stuff and trucks and stuff going through. And that's why a lot of people actually agreed. I think we had a very high level of agreement about the Western Link Road.
Local link road, and it would greatly benefit the community and take that load, all that local traffic off the main road, which you could make faster and remove all the traffic lights.
Bad news sure is hard to bear. Bad news sure is hard to bear.
Look, wetlands are wild, wonderful places. And what this expressway would do would motor straight over the top of them. It's right through them, in fact. Over them or through them. And we can't get these things back again. We've already lost 90% of them in this country. And Kapiti Coast used to have wetlands right from Paikakariki right through to Otaki and beyond. And we've lost most of them. We've got a few left. And this motorway would go right through them. There's some just north of Waikanae it would go through. It would go close to the Ngāmanu one. It wouldn't go through this one, but it would go through the Paikakariki ones, and who knows what else. Probably ones that I don't even know about. But hey, let's not let it go through them. We've already got lots of north-south connections, the rail, the road, etc., on this narrow strip of land between the mountain and Kapiti Island. And what we need to do is increase and maintain our east-west connections, both for human communities, using the Western Link Road and other connecting roads, and for the wildlife. Because we're now seeing wildlife come across from Kapiti Island over to the mainland and back and forth, and we want to maintain that. We want places for eels and all sorts of fish to come back and forth. An expressway would cut right through that and increase the barriers for both human beings and for the wildlife. We don't want to do that.
And I know a lot of people who came out here from Wellington because they had asthmatic parents or asthmatic children. And the air quality in Kapiti is superb. It really is good, fresh, clean air. A number of GPs will tell you that it's one of the best places to be if you happen to suffer from asthma. Well, if this government gets its way, it will be one of the worst places to be if you suffer from asthma. Because it will take approximately 5 years of construction to build it. Now can you imagine the trucks, the dust, the noise, the disruption going on for 5 years? I mean, I think, it will drive people insane.
The inconvenience cost to the people of Kapiti for the construction phase of this behemoth, which could take a decade, could literally take a decade or more, will be absolutely enormous. You could have 200 truck movements a day across Elizabeth Street in Waikanai. 200 a day, and electrified rail going back and forth every 15 minutes. It'd turn the place into a zoo. Nobody would get a pass on this at all. Nobody. For no benefit.
Once there is the opportunity to get onto a fast road that goes to a major centre, people will take that, and it will absolutely dissipate the commercial opportunities for retail and showroom type businesses. What happens to property values? And if you live on the coast side, it probably doesn't make any difference. And if you live on the hillside, it probably doesn't make a lot of difference. But what happens to roughly 30% of the properties that are between the current State Highway 1 and the new motorway? Those places are in sort of a no man's land. They don't have a hook to the bush or a hook to the beach. They're just in nowhereville, and they've got one boundary as a railway and the old State Highway 1, and the other boundary is a new motorway, and so there's sort of no there for them, and that's going to, I think, negatively impact on property values in those areas.
The original State Highway 1 was a low population area, and it's taken it into the heart of Kapiti where there are many more people than affected. And these couple of maps are one of 16 in a series produced by NZTA. This is the Makareni Street area from Kapiti Road through to Mazengard Road. There are over 530 separate homes within 200 metres of the road in that area, and that is a very high density when we're considering the issues of noise, pollution, and on another level even devaluation of homes and amenities as a result of the impact of the road. So I've talked about the central part of the road, but overall on the road the same pattern shows that there's over 1,360 houses are within 200 metres of this road and are going to be impacted. NZTA has a very narrow definition of what affected is. To them it's having your house destroyed. But that's like the wartime scenario of counting the dead and not the wounded. 1,350 homes plus the numbers of people in those could amount to up to 10% of the Kapiti population are going to be affected.
My name's Jill Abigail, and I'm co-owner of a piece of wetland up here on the Kapiti coast, and I'm very concerned about the environmental issues. The thing that makes me particularly sad about this whole exercise is the fact that the thinking behind the creation of this road is so old-fashioned. And I can't believe that Stephen Joyce is still in his 40s and our Prime Minister is still in his 40s, and that these men have got the mindset that Bill Birch had in the 1970s. It's old thinking to be building roads these days, and they're ignoring all sorts of information that's available from other parts of the world about decreasing our reliance on fossil fuels and building rail networks instead so that we're not so dependent on oil. And it's as if these men have never heard of these arguments. Now, if they hadn't heard of them before they got into power, they've certainly heard about them now.
Kapiti Road runs east-west between the current state highway and Wharemauku Beach and handles an average of 19,000 vehicles a day, 80% of the State Highway 1 traffic past Coastland Shopping Centre.
And here's our group demonstrating how much space a number 1 state highway interchange would take up with its on and off ramps. Here they are in the other direction, this by Ihakara Medical Centre. As our friends look west, this is the vista that NZTA says we'd see. But we know what we'd really see would be more like this.
Get up, stand up, stand up for your right. Get up, stand up, don't
upgrade the existing highway. I mean, it's going to be cheaper. It's not going to plough right through the middle of our town and split the whole thing in two. It's going down a route that is set up already to be handling that amount of traffic, and there's, you know, it just seems the obvious simple solution.
In the 2 years since the median barriers were installed on the Kapiti section of State Highway 1, there hasn't been a fatal accident until very recently. In this extract from the Dominion Post, NZTA Regional Manager Jenny Chatwin explains why they can't commit to spending any more money on median barriers, but they don't mind spending hundreds of millions on moving State Highway 1 through the heart of the Kapiti district, citing safety as one of the justifications.
Yeah, conniving bastards. Well, yeah, they're just kind of making you feel that it's going to be a link road when it's not. It's going to be a huge monstrosity at a huge cost to a country that doesn't really need it. Yeah. They had an article in the Dominion about maybe a week or two ago, the 10 worst roads in New Zealand, and you know, they didn't mention Pauparam to Waikanai as being one of the 10 worst roads, or Raumati to Waikanai as being one of the 10 worst roads. So why do we need to have an expressway put through it, you know? It said that it just needed improvements. That's what it stated in the paper.
Talk about safety, what about rail? We found out that the Ministry of Transport sought independent advice, known as the Bolland Report, on the economic costs and benefits of rail freight. We had to obtain it under the Official Information Act. In it, they say, the safety benefits of rail freight are over $40 million a year, equivalent to 12 fatal accidents.